Greetings. This is Arvette McLean with Speak, the Universe Listens. New ways to view age-old challenges. Change your thoughts, change your life. Step into the bigness of you.
Hey, fellas.
Hey.
So, a lot of times nowadays people use the language, the universe, but oftentimes, like for me, I use the word universe and God interchangeably. So there was a time when people would say God, now they used to say universe. But I see a lot of people writing about, basically let the universe handle it. Let the universe handle things, or they're like, this is what the universe has set up for me, or this is what God has for me. Do y'all know kind of like what I'm talking about? Have you read stuff like that? So I just wanted to kind of get your take on, like, should we turn everything over to the universe, or do we expect God to intervene, or is God setting up the circumstances for our life, or is the universe setting up circumstances for our life, and should we just allow that to be?
That's a good question, because I seen something today, and it said the person was like, God, I'm done. And God was like, good, now I can work, whatever, good, now I can do what I plan to do, or whatever. So that made me think about what you asking now.
And I like it too, because what you're asking now kind of feels similar to like a saying I used to always hear all the time growing up, was like, God laughs when you make plans and things like that. And it's like, I think that there is a lot of validity to it, in the sense of I think that when we release and we let go, and I think yes, the short answer is yes, we should let go and let the universe take over. But I think we should do it because in doing that we realize that no, it's kind of just us taking over, in a sense. Like, the minute we stop thinking, all right, I need to figure it out, is when things usually start to unfold perfectly. And so I guess my answer is like, yeah, because the minute, I've never gotten anything from stressing about it. It's just the short answer of it.
And that's what I always say, like, I never solved anything by being super worried about it or stressing about it. Not until I'm like, it's gonna be that things just go however it's supposed to go, or things work out. When I just let go, like, hey, I'm let the universe handle it.
I know I used to always hear the saying, put it in God's hands, and so for me, I look at it like, don't, like you said, Ryan, to piggyback on what you said, there's no need to stress it, the universe or God, whichever one that you, that you prefer, things gonna fall through for you, but also too, I think that you play a part in that, because it's like, you can't expect your car to start if you don't turn the key or either press the button. You got to take some type of action, along with the universe and God helping you out as well. So that's how I see it.
Man, I like that a lot.
I like that.
I like that a lot, because I do think that it is important to be like, I think that is the important step in it, to also be aligned with, like, when I'm letting go and letting God, I need to be aligned with that as well. Like, I can't just let go and be like, all right, I'm gonna let them figure it all out now. I ain't gonna do nothing. Yeah, and still be sitting around stressing. Right. Like, I gotta be aligned with, like, no, I want what's best for me to happen. And so I do think that it is important to be aligned with, like, I think that's just important. You gotta be aligned with what you actually want. Like, you gotta be clear. I think that it helps to have clarity on what you're asking for in the first place. And then knowing that once you ask for it, it's gonna pop up. So be very intentional about what you want to ask for, because it will come.
And even, you know, with that saying, I was saying, when people say put it in God's hands, right? They still took some type of forward movement towards whatever it is that they needed help with, or that they wanted to, you know, manifest into their life. But it's just more so of like, you know, they don't realize like, okay, I'm not putting it all on God or the universe to do everything for me, you know. But you gotta take some type of initiative.
It also made me think too, like, I say for instance, I'm feeling like trapped or something,
Right.
and I'm like, God, I just want to feel free. I just want to feel free. Then I finally get fed up to the point where I'm like, yo, it's gonna be what it's gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm releasing it, and then things work out. I still kind of align with that feeling of free, but even though it came at maybe my breaking point,
Right.
I still was like, yo, I'm gonna let it go, and I'm just gonna be free from it.
Yeah.
And things work out. I was feeling free, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get what you're saying when you say when you're doing that, you still are aligned with the universe.
And then, like in situations like that, you get to the point as to where you get to your breaking point, right? When you get to your breaking point, because you've been so stuck in the mindset, you're trying to control the outcome, and you're trying to control the outcome. So that moment when you get there, of like, you know what, I'm gonna just stop trying to control the situation and see how things are gonna play out. That's when everything just start to come in for you, and you just like, man, I've been waiting for this the whole day, you know, the whole time, you know.
Because when like you worrying and stuff, you also thinking of like, how can this be fixed? And you thinking from a small box because you worrying. So when you like, yo, I ain't gonna worry about it no more, then you allow all these other possibilities to come in, and like you say, you're not trying to control the outcome in a sense. You're allowing all these other things to come in because you release I'm done trying to figure it out. I'm done trying to dictate the outcome or figure out how this can, like, you know, when you stop worrying, you release the how and all of that too.
Yeah. Because I've been in, situations as to where the control would take over, right? And I would try to sit back, and I'm in the mind state of figuring things out. How I'm gonna move, how I'm gonna do this, right? How I'm gonna do that. And not consciously being aware of I'm trying to control the situation, right? But then when my awareness come into play, I let go of, I'm aware now that I'm controlling the outcome, and as soon as I let go of it, now I'm getting a opportunity to see a way, you know, that I didn't see before, you know, because like you said, we let go of the control factor. So I think it's one of many things a lot of us and creatures of habit, you know, we used to, you got to see it to believe it, or you got to, you know, you want to know.
Because we like naturally problem solvers in a sense, but how you gonna solve a problem when you only coming into it with like 2 solutions you can think of?
Exactly.
I like that.
This ain't too productive. So it's like when we release all of that and allow these other possibilities to happen, that's when things work out a lot of the times.
Absolutely.
And I think that releasing is so interesting too, because like I realized that like anytime I usually talk about this subject or like letting go and just like letting the universe take over, it's usually at those breaking point moments. But the minute I step back, I can think of multiple times where like I was just doing something, and in the just doing it and enjoying what I'm doing, I was releasing it and just letting it go, and all these beautiful things came about from it. And it was like, I was just doing this, and this happened to sprout from it. So I think that it's always important too to also know that like it doesn't have to be just at the breaking point where you release, or like it doesn't have to be just at the breaking point where you're like, I'm gonna let the universe take over, or like I'm just gonna hand it all over. Like I think that at all moments we can always be working in collaboration with it, because at our best moments we're kind of just letting it go and beautiful things come from it.
And sometimes I've experienced as to where, you know, I would be so stuck in figuring it out, right? As to where my awareness don't even come into play at all, because I'm determined to figure this thing out. Right? I'm gonna make it happen some way or another. And you know, the universe, God, finds a way to sit back and force me. Something will happen to force me to let go of the control, you know, and I have no option now. Now it's like, okay, now you allow me to help you here, but sit down. Sit down somewhere, you know.
And I also think that oftentimes, you know, when it's something that doesn't feel comfortable, we often get to like fighting to hold on to like what feels comfortable. And it's at that moment that we release that like usually like, I feel like the release moment usually comes where we're like, well, you know, things happen. I just wasn't given like no choice but to release then. But now I'm sitting back and I'm realizing, well, no, it was my constant holding on to it that created any situation that felt like I was being released or let go of in the first place. So like if I'm sitting around holding on to like money and saying like, oh, I just can't let it go, I can't let it go, and then like all of it gets taken from me, well, it got taken from me because I kept holding on to it so tightly. Like I was never building the right relationship with it in the first place. And so now as a result, it's all gone. Like you can't treat something bad and expect it to stay. And so I think about that all the time.
So that's a good point that you just made, because I see on Facebook and on social media something like what Stephen said, like that you'll be forced to shut it down and allow God or the universe to take over. And so it sounds like it's something from outside of you that's doing it, right? But really it's you, because whatever it is that you were fighting or holding on to, like that's the energy that you're putting out there. Like you are putting that energy out into the world, out into the universe, and then you're getting a response back from it. So it's not like God is like slapping you around, sit your butt down. You know, like a lot of times that's how I guess we conceptualize it, like it's something outside of us that's doing it, but really like we were given free will, right? And so I think that our job is to tell the universe, which is partly ourselves, being in alignment with who we really are, what we want. And then the universe will decide how we get it. So we will try to figure it out, and we try to force it, and you know, we want it to come this way. And like Rodney say, it's like it's either got to happen like this or it's got to happen like that. Right. But it's a whole realm of ways that it can happen that we just don't have the perspective to see. And so, like when, as y'all say, you release it, release and allow things to unfold for you. So I just want to make the distinction between, yes, our free will is to say what it is we want. And then the universe will orchestrate it for us. So it's kind of both, and like you were saying, you got to do your part. Your part is, what do you want? What do you want? And vibrate on that. And then the universe will figure out, or your higher self will figure out how to make it happen.
I think that's one of the many things. A lot of people always look outside of themselves for answers, and I always said this, you know, that everything you seek is already within you. But it's, you know, it can be challenging when you so stuck on 3-dimensional, you know. So yeah, I mean, that's one of the biggest steps I would say is just basically knowing that you are a creator. And when you know you are a creator, then you fall in line with the universe and God. You know you're able to create the situations or circumstances that you desire in your life. But it can be challenging to see that at times when you're so stuck on three-dimensional things.
Yeah, and I think, because now this topic just got me thinking too, and I think that in the past, a lot of times, what used to always stop me from, letting go and letting the universe kind of guide me was kind of what we already alluded to, was I always wanted it to look a certain way. So it's like, yeah, I'm ready to let it go, and like, I'll let go and I'll let God, but like, not if it ain't gonna come like the way I need it to come.
See, that's the thing. Like, your higher self, the universe, God knows what you want, knows what would please you.
See?
So it's not working against you. It's working with you. It's working for your good and for your benefit. So what you're going to get is going to be better than what you,
Already can
the
even think.
physical part of you, are able to imagine. And like so many people tell me, they're like, oh, I know you worked hard. I know you, I know that was hard. I know you put in effort. I know. And I'm like, no, I didn't. It was easy because I just waited for, like I've said before, like I'm not making a plan of, okay, I'm gonna create this, and I'm not doing that. I'm just waiting for inspiration from the universe, from my higher self, just trying to stay in alignment as much as possible. And then I just follow the instructions. And like, for example, right now, I'm working on these things that really people who know me would be like, what? Like, why would you do that? I don't know. And people are like, well, what are you going to do with that? I don't know. I was just inspired to take these courses that's totally out of my wheelhouse. I don't know why, but because I felt that inspiration, I did it. And so I don't know what's going to come of it. I believe something's going to come of it, but like most people are like, well, are you going to do work in that field? I don't have any intention. I don't know what, but yeah, so just getting in alignment, staying there as often as you can, and then follow the guidance that you're given. And the guidance is usually that thing that makes you like, okay, I want to do this, and you just do it, and it's easy. There's nothing hard about it.
I like that, because that's very, very true. Just when you start on that thing that's like really pulling you, it take you to places that you couldn't even imagine. And then when you finally get there, and you might just reminisce for a second or two, you're like, wow, like I couldn't even see this, a year ago, or 2 years ago, whatever the case may be. But yeah, it's really just listening to your inner guidance, and it can be challenging only if you see it as being challenging. That was one of my many hiccups, seeing things as being challenging when it don't have to be. And I think sometimes when you go into something like that, whatever it is, if you already going into it with, and we talked about this before, like you go into something just thinking about what you have to do, that ain't really.
And I'm gonna just add, for people like me, like it's nothing wrong with liking things to be challenging, because sometimes that is your joy, to overcome stuff. Like that's some people just like to overcome stuff. Like that was hard, and I did that.
True.
I did it. And I had that period in my life where I just was proud of myself for just overcoming some stuff or whatever. So like a lot of times we almost kind of label like, oh, if it was hard, that was bad. But for some people it's not. Like, it's fun. And sometimes I still like challenges. I like things where I'm like, okay, that I overcame that, or I came up with some stuff, or my brain was on fire, whatever. But most of the time, I just like it to be easy and fun.
I let golf be my challenge.
So this was interesting, like the whole thing of let go and let God, and I'm glad. I like the perspective that you all brought to it, and I think when I started saying the question, I think I was leaning towards, you can't just let go and let God. Like, what, that's just lazy. Because I do hear so many people, they're just like, I'm going to just wait and see what God has in store for me. I'm going to wait and see what the universe has in store. You're going to be waiting. Because the only thing that's in store for you is what you're vibrating. So if you aren't vibrating anything beautiful, anything fun, anything happy, anything abundant, if you just sit, I'm going to just wait.
Wait.
Passing the time.
And I typically don't like analogies where somebody would talk about a non-human thing and comparing it to a human thing. Like Stephen said, if you want the car to go, you got to turn on the ignition. Like typically, I don't like analogies like that because it's nothing about me that's similar to a car. Like humans are on a whole different dimension from an inanimate object. However, I liked your analogy because, like the let go and let God, yes, but you do have to do something first, which is say, this is what I want. All right, well, thank you guys for this conversation. I enjoyed it, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. And we look forward to chatting with you again next week. Until then, this is Arvette.
Well, this is Steve.
Teron.
Right.
Bye, y'all.